today, how to increase sales with proper listing management. So number one, you need to know your role. As a real estate professionals, there are a few roles more important than representing sellers than in a real estate transaction, right? There are a few roles more important. This is super, super important. You are taking on a wide range of responsibilities. Getting a listing is just the start. Once you actually get the listing agreement, you need to do everything in your power to preparing the home, conducting the market analysis, creating the selling strategy, handling the tenants, negotiating with the buyers and their agents. And it is so important for you to set the expectation for every part of the journey. And we're going to talk about that. So the home is listed. Now what? Well, make sure you have a for sale sign on the property. Make sure the home is ready for pictures and to show. It is decluttered and organized, personal items away. It's really, it pains me when I see properties out there and their pictures are dark and dingy and it looks as though they took it on an iPhone from 2012, right? You are a professional. In your biography and in your presentation, I'm sure you talk about your marketing strategies and then you have crappy pictures online. Not a good look. Your brand is what you put online. So even if it's a lower price listing, you still want to put your personal brand on everything. So across the board, everything should be professional pictures, floor plans, video walkthroughs are an additional bonus. Make sure you have flyers prepared and send a blast email to your database. So of course, your database will grow as you grow as an agent. But at some point, you need to have everything organized and in one space. So, what are you using for that? Are you using any kind of CRM in order to keep your database together? And then sending your blast email out to your database. Schedule your first open house. Door knock in the area, or if it's a co op or condo in the same building. Invite all the neighbors to your open house because you know what the benefit of that is? You can end up with another listing. And you can sell your current listing at the same time because a lot of people move where their family lives. So that's why it's important to invite the neighbors. And make sure this one is the most important. Be present for all showings. All. Never let the seller show their own house. Number one, when you try to say, hey, I'm working real hard for you and I'm doing a good job and we need to adjust the price because we've done everything, they're going to say, well, you're not even here to show my house. Number two, people talk to the seller. Other agents will talk to your seller. Buyers will talk to your seller. That is the worst thing that could happen. So make sure you are present for all showings. And make sure that you're keeping in touch with the seller. You should keep in touch at least one time per week, even when you have nothing to say, right? You can call the seller up. Hey, we didn't have any showings or requests this week. Of course, it's not what we wanted, but, we've been on the market 2 weeks. Let's see how the next 2 weeks go. And then you keep going from there. Oh, how's Fluffy the dog? How are you feeling? Oh, the weather is beautiful. Whatever. You need to stay in touch with your seller. It will assure that you are doing the best job that you can, and it shows that you are on top of things. If your seller calls you for an update, you're not keeping in touch enough. Your seller should never, ever have to call you for an update. And when you're talking about price and adjustment, so first let me say this before I go into actually getting the price adjustment. You need to do this over the phone. You need to do this over the phone. If you want to email them some things after the call that you've spoken about, but you need to do this over the phone. The seller cannot understand the passion and the importance that they would hear in your voice through text message or email. This is a relationship business. They are making emotional decisions a lot of times. You need to be on the phone. So of course you're going to set your best entry price, right? But always set the expectation at the listing presentation that you'll have a conversation in 30, 45 days, and you're going to evaluate what happened. So what happened over the last month, month and a half, discuss next steps, and then strategies going forward. So this is what you're going to discuss: the amount of showings and the feedback, and make sure you are super delicate with the feedback. The amount of showings is important because perhaps you've had lots of showings but no offers, or maybe no showings. This all affects the price of the property. And if people give feedback, right, even if the house you feel, other people feel needs a total gut job, remember, emotion. This is Homes are the biggest thing that people purchase in their lives most times. So there's an emotional attachment. Maybe they've lived there for 60 years. Their family has grown up there. Kids, grandkids, all kinds of things have happened. And if you say, oh, well, this house, everyone says that it's a gut job and it needs to be renovated. And, that's why the price is, not good. You're doing a disservice. You're going to the emotional part of the person, and they're going to shut you down based off pure emotion. Talk about the days on market. So most listings sell within 180 days from list to close if you're going in with a good entry price. Otherwise, it usually takes an extra month or so because you do need to adjust the price to the market. So days on the market is important to know. How many views and saves on Zillow? So you can see on the back end of Zillow how many people have viewed the listing. So it's coming up in searches, which is great. And how many people have actually saved it. That's good to know as well. And what the rank is on Zillow. So there's a place on the bottom as well that will say your home ranks, 4 out of the 10 similar listings. And then, have you received any offers? That's an important thing to discuss as well, because if you are priced at a certain number and you've been receiving offers that are way below, then it's important to say, well, listen, we don't know what the value of the house is until we put it on the market. We can assume the value of the house. That is where the comparative market analysis comes in. We say, okay, this is what's going on in the area. This is what your house should be valued at. This is the range that your house may sell at. But you won't know exactly until it is on the market. Have a few recent comps ready, but only use them if you have to. Otherwise, you don't really need to bring it up. Going forward, assure them that the listing is being fully marketed all over the internet. There's 95% of people are searching for homes online. We're global, local, we spend 6 figures in marketing, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, or your company is doing. We have thousands of buyers in our database who we send our listings to regularly. And then ask the seller, what do you think we can do that we aren't already doing? And if you're afraid to ask that question, then you're not doing enough, right? From the start. So ask the seller, be vulnerable, because a lot of times if you're doing a good job, they're going to say, no, you're doing a great job. You're doing everything that you can. Great. So all that leaves is price. And if you're already doing everything, the best option would be to do the price adjustment. This is going to get new buyers in the door, new eyes on the property. When you're discussing the price option, you should go in percentages. So a rule of thumb is that most listings, of course, it depends on the market, sell within 4 to 7% of the asking price. So you can generally start with the 4%, but assess the situation. If you're overpriced, you may need to look at a 7% adjustment. Figure out what that number is, come to an agreed number that makes sense. So let's say if you're, I'm going to make it up, your house is 4% off the asking price, comes out to like $905. It's better to put your property at $899 versus $905. Because when people search, right, especially on all these websites, they have these alerts set up for themselves, and maybe they could afford up till $900, but so they're going to put up till $900, or maybe they could afford $875 and they put till $900. The point is, you want to be on that next level. So $8.99 is a better price than $9.05. Okay. Get the new price up, get the fresh eyes on the property, schedule an open house right away. Showings. You should always set the expectation when showing the house. The seller should not be there. Perhaps they can give you the keys, take a walk, take a drive, whatever it is that you could show while they're at work. You need to set this expectation at the start so that you don't have to have an uncomfortable conversation later. The seller's presence may make the buyers feel, actually it will make the buyers feel awkward. Home buyers need to feel comfortable as they're walking through their potential new home. The presence of the seller is going to make them feel, weird and strange. They're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in a stranger's home, and I'm not going to look extra long. I'm going to look really fast. They don't spend enough time. They're not diving into the properties. And when they don't feel comfortable, they're going to miss the intricacies of the property, and they're not going to give the home a fair chance. And the biggest one is that sellers talk too much. Honesty is always the best policy, of course, but don't forget, this is a sales process, and usually less is more. So if your seller starts talking about, 10 years ago when the pipe busted and it fell through the floor and the ceiling collapsed, it is just not a good idea. Plus, the buyers can end up, walking away.